All right, this is Darren Spader again here at the San Jose Mercury News. We just wrapped up the opening night of the Central Coast Section football playoffs. I was down in South San Jose to see the Oak Grove Eagles, a team that had won its 8 previous games by an average of 44 points over 8, I've got to say, overmatched opponents. Tonight, in Oak Grove's first game against a WCAL team since opening the season with 2 losses, really showed something tonight. Jay Braun's crew, they came out, had a flat first quarter. Mitty took it to him, was up 7-0 after 1. Kind of looked like more of the same from the game that Mitty played there 3 years ago and won, beat an undefeated Oak Grove team that year. But Oak Grove, Jay Braun's been telling me over the phone for weeks that this team is different. This team, these seniors are close. These seniors are, he just enjoys being around them. Boy, they really showed something. Rashawn Fontenette, who came into the game with 2,000 yards on the season on the ground, had another big game, 143 yards, but he just doesn't do it as a running back. He lines up a quarterback. He scored on a naked bootleg at one point. He lined up, I believe, his punter and a fake punt, converted a crucial first down, intercepted a pass, returned an onside kick, 50 yards for a touchdown. I mean, the guy is special, but he's also humble. After the game, I asked him about his performance, and he said the heroes of the night were the line. He was very, very proud of his offensive line, and bravo to him. I mean, that's a really, really good thing to say after a game like that. But anyhow, that was the game I was at. I know Glenn Reeves was down in Morgan Hill to see the defending Central Coast Section Open Division champions from the previous format, Sacred Heart Prep, a team that won a share of the PAL Bay Division title with Burlingame and Menlo Atherton this season, and they went down to face the Live Oak Acorns, who had a fine season, going 9-1 in the regular season. Glenn, what happened down in Morgan Hill?
Well, I'll tell you, Sacred Heart Prep looked ready to play playoff football. They know quite a bit about playing playoff football. Of course, last year winning the CCS Open Division, something that nobody thought they could do. Knocked off Bellarmine 14-0 in the final. This year, it hasn't been quite as smooth for them. They had actually lost 3 games. They started the season with 1-2. But I'll tell you, tonight they were ready to play. Their running attack was very hard to stop. 2 hard charging running backs in Isola Moimoy and Mahoney, Lupitu Mahoney. A couple really tough running backs, but kind of the highlight of the game was the performance that Mason Randall put on at the end of the first half. Live Oak had just scored to cut their deficit to 21-14. They're in the game. There's 57 seconds left in the half. Figure they're going to go in at the half down just 21-14. Prep gets the ball on the 21-yard line, goes 79 yards in 57 seconds to go up 28-14. And that was the time that Coach Pete Lobrato cut loose Mason Randall, said, hey, you got to get us in the end zone quick. And so he was loving it. He hits Nick O'Donnell for 31 yards on 3rd and 10, and then he scrambles out of the pocket, runs 25 yards down the sideline, gets out of bounds at the 18-yard line. There's 6.7 seconds left. And you figure, okay, what are they going to do? Can they try a field goal, or can they throw a quick sideline pass to get a little bit closer for a field goal? But they come out and they line up with Andrew Dashback, their big tight end, split out as a right end, split out, the only guy on that side. Randall steps back and he lofts a pass into the right corner of the end zone, just over the defensive back and into the arms of Dashback, catches it over his shoulder, and they go up in halftime 28-14.
Glenn, we've talked about this going into the game. I mean, Mason Randall's experience, having been there, done that. I mean, to go 13-0 last year, and then to be the quarterback for a team that made the state final last year. I mean, I don't think you can say enough about how important that is in high school football to have a quarterback who not only is talented as Mason is, but to have that kind of experience.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
I mean, as we look at that bracket, I mean, you know, Sacred Heart Prep. How far can Sacred Heart Prep go? I mean, they're going to be going on the road again next week to Monte Vista Christian, a team that edged Terra Nova tonight. As we look at our scores up here on the screen, Monte Vista Christian with a 34-27 victory over Terra Nova.
And Terra Nova was ahead in that game 21-7 at halftime. So, you know, just on the basis of those scores, you know, I got to think Sacred Heart Prep is going to have a pretty good chance, even having to go all the way down to Watsonville. And then there's going to be Reardon and Palma on the other side of that bracket, and that'll be a very interesting
Down in Salinas. I mean, you got to feel for the Burlingame guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that even though they were at home, an underdog against a Reardon team that put up a lot of points, has a lot of weapons.
Yeah, I would have thought that Reardon was, kind of a favorite. I mean, they really had some advantages in that matchup with athleticism. You know, that game, 30-28, Reardon beat Burlingame. It was 4 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns. Yeah. Reardon won the game on 2 two-point conversions. Burlingame kicked 4 one-pointers. And that was the difference in the game.
Wow.
Reardon is always such a nervy team, you know, kind of team that'll score a touchdown and go for 2, right, you know, when everybody expects them to go.
Doesn't have much of a kicking game. They showed that last week, and the special teams kind of hurt them last week, and this week, not having a reliable kicker might have saved them. But let's move on. Look at Open Division I scores. Ray Hackey, did you have any part of this taking these results tonight? We look at the scores. I mean, Palo Alto, believe that was a road game for the Vikings, going down to Salinas and coming away with a 4-point win.
Yes, and that was an upset. I mean,
Right.
they were, because Palo Alto came on the road. I mean, it came down to a final play. Palo Alto got a 4th down stop at the, Salinas was threatening to score. They were at the Vikings 10-yard line, and Palo Alto got the stop to preserve the win.
27 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mark Smith's alma mater, Mark Smith in here, our guy who's been taking scores for a while, and he's got to be on cloud 9 with the Vikings coming back with a big upset win.
Very surprising.
You look at the other side of that bracket, San Benito just edging Menlo Atherton of the PAL Bay. Glenn, that's got to be, I mean, you talk about some tough losses for the PAL tonight. That one's got to be right up there at the top, along with Burlingame.
Well, no, I don't know. Somehow I wouldn't put that in the same class, actually. But, but I'll tell you, the one that, Cappuccino down there in Division 5.
Oh, that's right. Cappuccino going down to Pacific Grove, and you were
Yeah, the number 8 seed going down to play the number 1 seed, traveling 120 miles or so, from San Bruno down to Pacific Grove. They lose 17-13. And that Cappuccino team, I mean, they're getting better every week. Very physical team, and just too bad they didn't have more power points and could have got a little better draw there.
Right. As we look at the rest of Open Division I and the scores, I mean, besides San Benito edging Menlo Atherton, Ray Hackey's alma mater, Piedmont Hills, as expected, took one on the chin. But I mean,
well, I'll tell you this.
39-0.
I'll tell you this. It was 32-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Right. Mike Janda's a really class act.
Right.
He was put score on anybody.
Yeah, he had his backup running back in by that time, and that would be Brendan Menigo, and he wound up scoring 2 touchdowns.
See, we list him as one of the stars of the night. I mean, Brendan's got to be pretty happy about that. He's up there right at the top of the list on the Open Division I games, along with Cross Chavez as Milpitas cruise past Everett Alvarez to set up a rematch next week against a Palo Alto team that Milpitas had a big win against earlier this season.
Cross Chavez, 137 yards, 3 touchdowns on just 8 carries tonight. But he's he is by no means Milpitas' only weapon. I mean, every single game that they called in this season, they've had like 3 or 4 guys at minimum scoring touchdowns, if not more. They rely very heavily on the run. That's not to say they can't pass. Oliver Spursky has over 1,000 yards passing on the season, but they do have a lot of weapons. They don't have one go-to player, but they have a bunch of guys who can hurt you.
Right. We look at Open Division 2. It looks like Cyrus Bibilikio had another big game for St. Francis. Wilcox had Eduardo Andrade. I mean, we seem to see his name every week, don't we? I mean, doing
he's
something
had
for
an unbelievable season.
doing something for the
running,
chart.
running quarterback in that Veer offense.
Oh, Darren, also for St. Francis, Brandon Baines rushed for 185 yards and 12 carries and had two big touchdown runs also.
Very nice game for
Both 65 yards or longer.
Yes.
Right, so we look at those scores. Oak Grove, a team that, I mean, they're a dangerous team. I mean, a team that has a chip on its shoulder, not happy about its Mercury News ranking all season. Came into this game ranked 10th by the Mercury News. Glenn and I put the rankings together, and to me, the rankings are all about quality wins, and unfortunately, until tonight,
Well,
we didn't feel Oak Grove had a
they got a quality win tonight.
They got a great win tonight.
I think they'll move up. Are we going to do rankings next week?
I told Jay Braun, the coach at Oak Grove, that we will probably do rankings at the end of the season because of the way that the CCS has its playoff structured now. There isn't like one true champion as Sacred Heart Prep was last season. So now we get to pick between these open divisions who our number 1 team is. And Oak Grove, I mean, next week they get Los Gatos or Valley Christian. Valley Christian beat Oak Grove earlier this year 24-0, but Oak Grove was missing some guys because of some academic issues. Those guys came back right